Welcome to Candid Conversations with Candidates, sponsored by Crow Wing Power in partnership with the Brainerd Lakes Chamber and Lakes Media Collaborative. I'm Steve Mao with Brainerd General Rental, representing the Brainerd Lakes Chamber. Joining me today is Ryan Buell, and Ryan is a candidate for Pequot Lakes Mayor. Ryan, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for putting this on.
You bet. Now, we'll give you a couple minutes here to address your opening comments to the audience so we can learn a little bit more about you.
Perfect. My name is Dr. Ryan Buell. I am a Pequot Lakes resident. I've been in Pequot Lakes since 1999. I opened Pequot Lakes Chiropractic and Sports Injury Center at that time. We're in our third location due to expansion now on the edge of town. I was also the chamber president for the Pequot Lakes Chamber for 3 years prior to the merger with the Brainerd Lakes Chamber. At that time, I served for an additional 3 years on the board of the Brainerd Lakes Chamber. Most recently, my wife and I were the co-chairs of the 2008 Governor's Fishing Opener, which was held at Breezy Point and Pequot Lakes. I think these characteristics will help me to provide a link between business and government, and I think my professional status and professional business experience in town will help me to fulfill the job of mayor for the citizens of Pequot Lakes.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for that introduction. Now we'll go through a list of questions that we have here for Pequot Lakes Mayor. So obviously there are a lot of needs, I would guess, in a community like Pequot. What would be your top priority if elected to Pequot Lakes Mayor?
Well, I think given the current economic situation, and not only in Pequot Lakes and not only in Crow Wing County, but in the state and in the country, I think our number one focus needs to be on containing our budget and holding our own and not spending our constituents' money in ways that are not fiscally responsible. Okay.
Anything else you want to add on that?
No, I think that's my number one priority. I think there's a number of specific issues within the city that need to be addressed as well, but I think they all kind of come back to that whole budget issue.
Okay. You shared with us a little bit about your background. What are 3 characteristics that you see that you possess that may distinguish you from other candidates for that position?
Okay. As the director or the co-chairs of the Chamber Governor's Fishing Opener, we had to work with a variety of groups. We had to work with a number of people from different aspects with different ideas, and we were able to bring all those people together. So I think one of the characteristics that I attribute is the ability to work with multiple groups to bring things together and bring things to fruition.
Okay.
Is that...
Go ahead. No, keep going. Yeah.
I think as a businessman, we have to balance a budget. We have to meet a budget. We understand the need. If it's not there, we have to go find it or we have to do with less. And I'm not necessarily saying we need to do with less in town because I think we have great things going in town. But we're looking at a levy increase of 6.7% for this year. I think that's too much. I don't think everybody in town is getting a raise of 6.7%. So I think that's something that we've got to look at as a mayor and council members to say, hey, how can we do what we need to do, have our essential services with what we've got without having to raise taxes and raise levies?
Okay. So as you look at you referenced money obviously is always a challenge in any community. In fact, quite frankly, as you mentioned, across the country, both the federal, state level, and of course at the local level. So as you look at budget priorities for this next term, what are those budget priorities for you should you be mayor, and how do you go about paying for those priorities?
Well, there's a current levy of, again, what I said, 6.7% increase over where we're at. It totals out to a little over $1.5 million for Little Pequot Lakes. The budget total for Pequot Lakes is over $2 million. Pequot Lakes and Sibley merged when we had moved to town, shortly after we moved to town 10, 11 years ago. And if I recall the combined budgets, I think Pequot Lakes was $550,000, and Sibley's was about half of that, if I recall. And those numbers may be off a little bit, but we've at least went up 40%, if not 50% above that, or doubled those numbers since the combination. Now the population's grown, there's more people there, so there's justification for some of that, but that is a big portion of looking at what is essential and what is not. But I think our primary focus has to be on the essential services. Our police department does a great job. Our fire department does a great job. Our city guys, they do a great job. Our city staff is awesome. Those essential services we have to keep. We have to look at some of those outlying things that are not necessarily essential to the city but are beneficial, and look at where do we make those hard choices.
Okay. So when you're looking at creating an environment in the city of Pequot, what can you do to create a business-friendly environment that would either retain or attract new business?
A couple examples I've thought of concerning that at this point. Number one, our sign ordinance is very limiting to a number of characteristics or a number of factors. For example, the school right now wants to get a digital sign with the new construction that's going on at the school. The city ordinance doesn't allow them, number one, to have an off-site sign, number two, to have a digital sign, or number three, to acquire a sign from someone else and utilize that service. The city doesn't allow for digital signage right now. So all of those things in the sign ordinance are common sense things that need to be looked at and need to be addressed. I think that's a huge factor in potentially opening up Pequot Lakes to other individuals who want to come in, start businesses, do things in Pequot, and help things expand.
Okay. So what community partners might you work with or partner with if elected?
Well, I think when we say community partners, I think the Chamber plays a huge role. As I said, I was the Chamber president for 3 years. I attended council meetings at that time. The Chamber now currently has a Chamber representative at all of the Chamber, or at all of the City Council meetings. I think the Chamber is a huge asset for us. I think the school is also a huge asset for us, both in give and take with us as the city. We do a number of things right now with community partners outside of Pequot Lakes. We do shared mutual aid. We cover the police department for Jenkins Township. We do all of these things in conjunction. We have agreements with NISWA, to my understanding, for snow plowing on certain areas that are kind of on the fringes of where we are. So I think we're doing a lot of those things now. We're doing them well, but it's just looking for those efficiencies and again, trying to make those decisions where we can to reduce without making it hurt.
Okay. Anything else before we let you go?
I think it
was
a great questions. I think the questions are very thorough. They cover a lot of things. I want to thank the Chamber, the Crowing Power, and I forget the third one. But
Brainerd Lakes Media Collaborative.
Thank you, Brainerd Lakes Media Collaborative. This is a great opportunity for people who can't make it into things like the League of Women Voters event that usually is held in Pequot Lakes, to let us get our information and our message out.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, again, our guest today was Ryan Buell, and Ryan is a candidate for the Pequot Lakes Mayor. I want to thank you for listening in, and make sure that you join us for more candid conversations with candidates. If you're interested in viewing this or other interviews, you can go to www.votebrainerdlakes. That's votebrainerdlakes.com. And remember, please vote on November 6th.